Do you have a you in your life? Is there someone who you know, if it came down to it, you needed some money, or you needed blood or a kidney, or someone to visit you in the hospital or the sick room or in the prison? Do you have someone? Is there someone you can trust with the keys to your house? Is there someone you can trust with your children? Is there someone you can trust with your credit card or debit card? Do you have someone like that? I heard a singer one time doing blues, B.B. King. He had the band playing and they was just jamming. And all of a sudden he slowed it down a little bit. I mean, they were going at it. Just jamming. And he slowed it down and he said, you only got about 2 friends in life, maybe 3. And one of them is your mother. The point he was making was that true friends, true loved ones, people that you can depend on, are rare. I'm recalling a situation of a coworker that I had who we kind of clashed a little bit. We didn't get along too well. I don't know what it was. We just had a personality clash, and sometimes it was difficult. And I pretty much avoided him. And then one time he came from summer break, and it was back in the fall. We're coming back to school in the fall after summer break. And I noticed he was thin and he was moving a little bit kind of rough. And I'm like, what in the world happened to him? And what I found out was he had a relative that was dying and needed a kidney. For some reason, the transfusions were not feasible. I don't know what the details were, but bottom line was he gave one of his kidneys to a relative, an uncle or somebody. He went under the knife for someone that he loved and he cared about. And I had a whole different look for this individual. I'll call him KR. Those that are familiar with where I worked and some of my coworkers will know who I'm talking about. I had a new level of respect for this man because he did something that I don't know if I could do. It would depend on the circumstances, the time in my life, who it was, and what kind of mental, emotional disposition I was currently in at that time. To go under the knife and to give up part of my health to save another. From that point on, he had my respect. No more attitude problems. If he'd walk by and just grunt, say something, or a little something that just didn't rub me the wrong way before, it didn't rub me the wrong way this time. I was just like, what's up? How you doing? Everything good? Whatever. I respected him because he did something that I did not know, if put in that situation, if I could come through like that. So, relationships, companionship. What does it entail? What does it take? What is true love? I was listening to a video from the famous sports commentator, Stephen A. Smith. And Stephen A. was talking about women and the type of women you should go for. And it was kind of funny, but there was some realness about it. He talked about you don't want a woman that's perfectly beautiful, what they call a 10, because she is going to be high maintenance and people are going to be lined up. And as soon as you cut up and act up, there's a whole bunch of people waiting for her. And it was interesting, his take on it. Then he talked about women that were down the scale a little bit, 9, 8, 7. And he got to a 7 and he said, you want a strong 7 because they're not going to be so high and mighty that they feel like the world is rolling out a carpet for them, but yet they're nice enough looking where they can compliment you. and be there for you. And it's not just about all of them. On the flip side of that, let me go in the other direction. Sometimes a man will be so strong financially and politically that women will take toward this man because he makes multiple six figures, he's over 6 feet tall, and he's got a six-pack. And women will line up. But there's a cost in that area also, because a man that's making that kind of money and has that much power, he's going to expect certain things and demand certain things from his woman. And some women are going to be uncomfortable and not really be able to walk in themselves or be really who they are because of the financial security. And once that financial security goes, what do you have? I saw a show, a talk show. They showed 3 couples, beautiful couples, very fit, trim, and attractive. The men were like 6 feet, 185 pounds. The women were like size 4 and 6, beautiful. And the talk show host introduced the 3 couples and said, we're going to have the couples come out right now. And the couples came out, and the men looked basically the same, but the women, after childbirth and after 5-10 years of marriage, the women went from a size 4 to a size 24. I think the smallest one was an 18 and the biggest one was like a 24, and they were all 4s and 6s. And when they brought the women out and their husbands, the husbands declared their love for their wives. They said, I love her unconditionally, but this has been a problem. And the women just jumped up, and the women in the audience jumped all over these men and said, she had children for you. She gave her life for you. She helped raise these kids, and she picked up a little weight, and you're going to say that you don't love her anymore? And the men were like, no, we love them. But what we married, it's not the same thing. And I sat there and I watched this and I said, oh my. And then the talk show host panned the audience and she said, well, what do you men think about this? And they panned the audience and the men put their head down. They just like, oh. And I said, oh my God, I'm glad I'm not in that audience. So many times our devotion and our love is based on conditions. I heard someone say once that love is unconditional, but marriage is conditional. You can't marry anybody. But what if you marry someone that met all your 10 conditions and then something happened? Someone got sick, or someone committed a crime and had to go to jail, or someone lost a limb. Would you still love them? Would you still want to be with them? Would they still be your boo forever? In our community, we sometimes lack stick-to-itiveness, if that's a word. And we hang out and keep with our companion as long as things are good. But what if things are not good? What about the vow for better or for worse or for richer or for poorer or for sickness and in health? What about this? I believe in many situations and many families that the jury is still out on this. Do we know what love is according to what God says love should be? Patient. Love is kind. Love does not boast itself. Love lifts the other person and not oneself. This is something that we should look at. This is something that we should take heed and have self-evaluations about what our contribution is in our particular relationship? Love, do you really know what it is? Is what you're feeling for your companion or your significant other, is it real? I'm Doc V, and I'll see you next time.